fate of the universe on the line. I want Iguodala.
Kevin Durant. You know who I am.
Hurry, way downtown. Blocked by James. Is this the dagger?
Sacktown got the receipts. So many years of no belief. Mavs struggle with Kai, and still no one wants to believe why. New CBA in effect, minimum playing time, marijuana and other allowances made as the Hall of Fame gets ready to welcome Dirk, TP and D-Wade. All this and more on the hashtag #BallsNBA podcast, your favorite NBA podcast in an Indian accent. We are back at it again with episode 15 of season 6, and if this is your first time, please hit that like and subscribe button. Help us out with your love. In the association this week, the NBA and the NBPA agreed on a new 7-year collective bargaining agreement, ushering a lot of changes, big and small, all throughout the association. The Sacramento Kings ended one of the biggest playoff droughts after securing their place in the top 8 teams in the West. And Mavericks run the risk of losing out on a chance to play in late April as they teeter to just outside the play-in zone. Speaking of unthinkable, I've got with me, as always, someone who is always confused between if and until and unless, someone who is a huge fan of whodunits, and someone who is learning Luxembourgish. My co-host Vineet.
Moyen, Ashwin. Vegidat.
Is the first one I'm guessing is hello. What is the second one?
How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. This Luxembourgish sounds extremely Eastern European.
It's kind of German and French, mix of German and French.
Yeah, it sounds like Kazakhstan and like that ex-Soviet Union kind of thing.
No, I don't think so. No. That's a little bit more harsh.
Moyen. That doesn't sound like French also.
No, Moyen is more French. Moyen. You gotta say it that way. You gotta sing-song it, according to them.
Is it?
Because German is like a very
harsh
language. And so they wanted to sort of make it more, flowing.
Malu. Kurgi.
Yeah, only that. So I think it's kind of like Luxembourgish is kind of like Kurgi, which is like a mix of Kannada, Tamil, Malayalam, like kind of like took it all together and made a language, something very similar.
We're talking about whatever the hell we were talking about, which we cannot disclose for reasons of wanting to live. Did you see that Wemby dunk from the 3-point line after that step back 3 miss?
I did not see.
You did not see that. Are you serious? He did a step back from the 3-point line. Okay. The ball goes and hits the front of the rim. And guess who has already come back to put back dunk it in?
Wembenyama.
He has somehow... I was like, okay, maybe if somebody else will come in, because why would ESPN show a miss 3-pointer? It came back and he was already there. Imagine, step back, momentum taking you back. And by the time, in that slow motion, it was like 1 or 2 seconds. So maybe it's like a half a second. This man had made the journey from the 3-point line to the dunk, like boom, jump, bam. I can't believe you haven't seen it. It's everywhere. That Bowser sent it to us also. And one NBA official said that a lot of teams might really regret not tanking for Wembenyama.
I really, he's like totally. This is why I'm totally on the Spurs bandwagon. It's like, okay, if there's anyone you had to tank for, this is the man. After LeBron, who did we ever think was worth tanking for?
Zion?
I can't remember. No, Zion wasn't Wembenyama level, man.
No, wasn't, but didn't.
No, Wemby was.
I think Zion was pretty like, oh my god, we got tank for Zion. Luka bench.
No, Luka went third.
They took
Luka. No, I'm not saying that talent-wise they were not there. I'm just saying like there wasn't like this. You would see and you would be in awe kind of person.
Yeah, that play was
like LeBron was the same. Like I remember LeBron's like high school highlights, them showing again, and I was like, whoa, this guy. I mean, that time, we didn't even, I don't think we had YouTube also.
I think they always hype up every projected number 1 pick, but this Wembenyama sort of thing is ridiculous. Like, I don't think that we have ever seen anything of this at this sort of a scale.
I think the only thing that he might be like, is that he's too thin, too skinny. Unless he like goes all Giannis, because when Giannis came, he was very skinny.
Oh, very, very skinny. Much, I mean,
Very skinny.
almost as skinny as this, but he was probably, I think, 6 inches shorter than Wembenyama.
Crazy, man. Like 7'5" is ridiculous. Like we can't even imagine.
Have you seen those POV videos of him? I mean, it seems like this is the first time we're
Yeah,
talking
it
about
is
Wembenyama,
great.
but
It's crazy. That POV videos are just absolutely like he's dunking, he's just standing and dunking.
Chet Holmgren also similar build, but he is 4 inches shorter than Wembenyama.
Shorter.
He's just 7 foot.
Not a
He's
good,
a short guy.
not as a good shooter. Nothing. Like
No, he's a good
Wemby is
shooter.
a very good shooter.
And a very good shooter. But sure, I mean, you have to respect that shot. Like, he is comfortable with the basketball. Like, that's the thing. I don't know if you remember this. Sean Jayachandran, crossover guy, he had talked about this airport walk to recognize whether people are comfortable with their height. Like, he's seen a lot of, we were talking about with respect to the Indian tall people who, when they walk in the airport, they seem very labored and they can't, they're like,
Okay.
And you see the Indian, the college players in the US who are 7 foot and above who walk. They're walking very comfortable because naturally their body is very comfortable with being that height.
With their height, yeah.
This Wembenyama 7'5", he walks like it is just like 6'3" or something. It's like, what's up, baby? Hey, what's up, mon ami? What about
Man, I hope he goes to the Spurs. I really hope Tony Parker pulls something off.
So you know how the odds work, right?
Yeah, it doesn't matter, right? If Wemby says like I want to go to the Spurs, they will figure
That's
out.
not how
a
it
way,
works. No, that's
how it works.
No, that is not
you
how
can
it
say
works.
that. Listen, I'm not. If you pick me, I'm just not going to like, like I think Kobe did that, right, with the Boston Celtics or something like that. You want to told them I'm not going to.
No. I mean, the stories are wrong, but I've heard of people doing that thing, as in, if you draft me, I will not play for you, kind of thing. But I don't think the league allows that to be okay. I mean, they might be like, okay, fine, we'll not take him because he'll just play like I don't
like
want to play.
think if you have a team, right? You have the first pick, and the first pick guy says, "Listen, man, I don't want to come to your city. Don't pick me. It'll be a complete waste of all your assets and everything and your first pick." Would you still risk taking that person?
No, because then you can see the reason the draft works is because the players are the commodities being sold, and
No, but you can get drafted but
NBA.
also not join, right? Like Manu Ginobili got drafted but he didn't join. Dirk got drafted, he didn't join. They came after a year.
But he still went to the same team. See, that's an understanding. See, if you haven't, okay, what I'm saying is, if Wemby tries to arm twist the teams, they might be like, listen, this guy, like, we can't allow this to play. You give us back our draft picks, take this guy and tell him to go somewhere else. Because, I mean, if he doesn't want to play, if he wants to play that hard ball where I will do what I want to do. Because at the end of the day, it's a market. You have to have like little balance. You can't be like, I will go wherever I want to go.
No, but I feel like the Spurs will also like sweeten the deal, like give them some draft picks, give them a lot of stuff. It won't be simple, like it won't be a pick swap. It won't be like, okay, we'll take Wemby and you take like our fourth pick.
You take Coach Pop. We'll talk about what is closer to us, which is the playoff, the play-in, the post-season,
MVP.
which is gonna happen. MVP, no more MVP. We are done with MVP.
No
I think they're gonna give it to
last final,
Embiid.
like what's Embiid, right? Even I feel the same.
So we need talking about the playoffs and play-in. Like you said, 1 week of NBA games left. It's been a long season. We have so much fighting and clamoring happening in the Western Conference. The Eastern Conference, pretty much everyone is set in that. That 1 to 10 position is sort of pretty locked up, unless something dramatic happens, which won't. In the Western Conference, we've got the Warriors, the Clippers, the Lakers, the Pelicans. All of them fighting for OKC. OKC, I think, will
Timberwolves
probably fall out. But Dallas Mavericks, all those teams fighting, 6 teams fighting for 4 places, and they're also fighting to not have to play the Nuggets or the Sacramento Kings the Memphis Grizzlies
or
in
the
that
Suns.
first round.
Nobody wants to play the Suns.
Yeah,
nobody wants to play the
also.
Suns in the final.
And Suns are like number 4 right now, right? After the Kings. So number
I think
5th position is also
Clippers
like
were
a
going
hot.
up. The Clippers were going up, and then they realized, you know what? We don't want to play the Suns in first. So
We don't want to go to up. Warriors Suns, that could be that'll be an amazing matchup. I think Warriors also realized that we also don't want to win. That's why that Nuggets game they lost even without Nikola Jokic. They were like just shooting bricks. Steph was like
no,
brick
they
city.
want. No, I saw the last part of the game. They really wanted to win. I thought the Warriors
Warriors
wanted
always
to win.
want to win. They're always like, oh, in the fourth quarter, suddenly everything will just go in. And I hate that. Now, I mean, I hate that as, like, this happens when you play pickup also, right? Suddenly, like, the team has been, like, playing really bad and suddenly they start, all their shooters just start chucking these twos and they go in. And you're like, God, my entire 6-point lead has become 4-point lead, then 2-point lead. I'm like, okay, I can't do this. Warriors, my point was that I think Warriors also don't want to play the Suns in the first round because they won't have home court advantage and they are playing like dog shit on the road. And you don't want to go up against Kevin Durant. Like, you ideally don't want to go up against him, especially.
Also, but it'll be a good matchup, right? Warriors versus the Suns.
Oh,
like Kevin
for
Durant,
us, that's the best. That's the best first round matchup. Like, I would have said Suns versus Clippers because it's a Westbrook versus KD in the playoffs for the first time. But
I feel like KD versus the Warriors will be a better.
Chris Paul on the side, like KD aiding Chris Paul, and Memphis versus Pelicans. I mean, Memphis versus whoever
Clippers.
That last set. Mavs or not Clippers. Memphis is number 2, so it'll be number 7.
I feel Clippers will want to play either Sacramento or Memphis.
I think Clippers playing Sacramento is probably the best thing for them because that is probably the only first round matchup that they
best seed.
have.
6 seed is the best seed to get it, and I think it will come down to the last day because like people will decide whether they have to lose or win that game, whichever game they're going to play on the last day.
All of this we are talking about, but we have not discussed the Mavs. For me, definitely one of the most disappointing teams in this entire year.
I enjoyed it a lot. I think that it made me so happy because Kyrie just annoys me, man. I don't know why.
I don't know. I used to keep reposting that reel of ours whenever Mavs lose and Kyrie there. I'm like, here it is. Just like, I think just we have built it to like 3,000 views.
And now like you don't hear from the Kyrie supporters. The Kyrie fans have all quieted down. Not a thing. Like before, we used to put up like an anti-Kyrie post, and like everyone's like, "Oh, Kyrie, how do you?"
Kyrie is a magician. Kyrie is a god with the ball. He's a ball on a string. He's got moves to the left and the right and this. He's taken down to Luka. From what I've heard from my sources, which is the internet, is that Mark Cuban wants to re-sign Kyrie in this summer because he's a free agent this summer. So they are looking to pay him.
Oh my god!
Money. Like, Cuban keeps talking about this loyalty and this and that and all that, and then he goes and signs Kyrie Irving. Like, he's not even loyal to his own thoughts. Why would you get such a ball-dominant person next to Luka? Are you trying to get him to change his, like, thing? They both take, like, some 70% of the shots, and, like, even when they make it, their defense is absolute dog shit. They have absolutely no clue what to do on, like, the high pick and rolls. They have no idea how to defend the three.
I think Bill Simmons was saying that like if you don't score 130 on the Mavs team, are you even an NBA team? And it's like that's how bad their defense is. Like if you can't score 130 against that bad defense, are you even an NBA team?
I mean, the worst offense in the league, the Miami Heat put up like 130 points against the Mavs. Moving on, Vineet, the NBA and the NBA Players Association recently agreed on a 7-year collective bargaining agreement. This basically governs what the revenue split will be, new rules which come in, a lot of talk. I think when the whole mental health thing and the injuries thing had happened, Ben Simmons saying that I want to be traded, like players demanding trade from teams and all that. That was one of the major contentions, that will be one of the major stipulations in the new collective bargaining agreement. But I guess they did not come to an agreement on that. I think the major things that have come into effect is there has been a second luxury tax blockade added. And if you cross that threshold also, there are major, you cannot re-add teams, you cannot send more money out than you bring in. and a lot of technical details are there, which is good for our financial basketball fans. But basically, there used to be one luxury tax, and after that, if you go above it, then there is nothing else. You just pay more money for every amount of money that
More
you spend.
money, yeah.
Yeah, but now there is another luxury cap on top of that, 17.5 million addition. After that, also, if you go up, then you can't do a lot of things that you were allowed to do. Like Golden State Warriors would not have been able to do last year's championship run without Andrew Wiggins. All this, right? Whatever they did, they would not be able to do that in the future. Which is, yeah, I mean, I understand a little bit of it, but implications are a little beyond my understanding. What I do understand is there will be an in-season tournament, most probably from next year onwards. That in-season tournament will be part of the regular season. 8 teams will be participating in that, and those matches will happen in Las Vegas. There'll be like a sort of Final Four, like a separate tournament which happens there. So I think a couple of teams will play more than 82 games, but the remainder of them will play 82 games itself. And along with that, they have put the limitations on the players. They must play at least 65 games in order to be eligible for
the awards,
for the season-ending awards. All NBA teams, MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, whatever it is, you have to play at least 65 games to be eligible for it. Also, it's a little bit weird, but the players can now invest in the NBA and the WNBA, as well as promote or invest in sports betting / medical marijuana companies. So, as a person who wants to be rich, or as a person who understands these things,
you don't want to be rich.
I don't want to be rich. I would like to be rich. There's a difference. Like, want to be rich, but you will be like work hard towards it, and you have this ambition and drive. And like, oh, I want to be rich. Let me try it. I would like to be rich. It's like I would just like a bunch of money to fall into my lap so that I can be like, hey man, I'm rich now. Okay, Vineet, good points about the CBA, some bad points about the CBA. What are your overall thoughts about this thing?
Overall thoughts, I think, are fine. I think that I'm not very happy about the positionless awards, mostly because of legacy's sake, and also because it was the big men were already a dying breed, and I think like this will make it even worse because guards are going to be more and more important as NBA progresses, just given the speed and 3-pointers and all that stuff. And so I think it'll just be like, I don't know. I feel like just for legacy purposes, they should have at least kept one guard, one forward as like
mandatory,
and then the rest they could have just, done whatever they wanted to. So I think the biggest problem was like that one extra, like you can't create, like which NBA team has no forwards? I can't even think of anybody.
No, every team has a forward. Are you talking about a center?
No, so this is what I think. I think you should have had 2 guards, 2 forwards, and 1 wild card. That wild card can be anybody. It can be a guard or a forward or a center, whatever it is.
I mean, I think the majority of the NBA's top players are all guards. Like, there are forwards who are good, but they're not like top guards. So you're essentially punishing a guard because of these number system. I agree that if you made it 1 guard, 1 forward, and then 3 wild cards, I'm okay with it because you do need those forwards to be. But I think there are a lot of Giannis, Embiid, Durant, Jokic. I mean, they are all like forwards right there, and they'll be on most all NBA teams anyways. But then you have Luka, who is a guard. You have Steph. You have Ja Morant. Like all the Kawhi Leonard is also a forward. Like I think it is fine. 1-on-1 and then 3 wildcards would have been fine. But I think the era is right now is of positionless basketball. It's not that there is a dearth.
It is a positionless basketball, but there are still positions.
That's why I say I think that the concept of position is a very old NBA concept. I think that concept that need not exist in today's NBA.
I disagree.
I mean, we have a 6'9", 6'7" Draymond Green playing center.
Yeah, but that's just what you're saying is that like that's what I'm saying. There's positionless basketball, which is like I can be a 7-footer who is a assist guy like Jokic, but I'm still a center.
Yeah,
my position is still at the center. Yes, I don't have to do what my position determines me to do, which is how it used to be before. If you're a small guy.
No, but they are not. See, these are not teams which are playing, right? Like this is just a visualization of it. Like I'm saying, the entire concept of saying that this person is a guard, this is a forward, this is center. The center position has lost its meaning completely. The ball doesn't. Nobody plays. Put it to the post and let the big man dominate, and then
Philly plays that. That's how Philly plays.
That's the only team. It's an exception.
What? That's how
Philly
Bucks
plays
play.
with a generation. I don't think Bucks don't play. Give the ball to the center. Bucks play. Give the ball to Giannis. Let him drive to the
The only thing is Giannis is not in the
Bucks
center.
play
He's on the
center.
elbow. That's the only difference.
Yeah, but that is the difference, right? Why would you be like there should be one talentless center? I mean, not that in today's NBA, if you put those three all NBA teams, I don't think there are three good centers in the NBA to be like we deserve it over the guards and the forwards. So now, like, because the good players will always come to the top, like the cream always rises. I don't think positions are required in today's NBA because it doesn't make any sense because the league does not play that way. The entire league, nobody in the league plays that way.
You're right. That you are not wrong, but that depends on the team, right? Like it depends on the player and depends on the team, depends on the system. Like I just feel like if you are Steph and you're in the Warriors, like there is a very high likelihood that your forwards and your center will be less dominant, so that you can have more space.
Mediocre. Yeah, okay, and that's fine, right? But then those players will go somewhere else. See, Christian Wood on the Rockets, he was an absolute boss. At the beginning of the season, MVP talk. I mean, that was just me, but still. And then now he's the sixth man on the Mavs. I mean, that obviously means that his role has changed, but that doesn't mean that his talent has gone down. But that does mean that his numbers are down, which means that he's probably never going to get an All NBA consideration as long as he plays sixth man on the Mavs. But Jokic, Giannis, Embiid, all those Bam Adebayo, even I can't even Bam, right? Like he's a dominant center for what he plays. The ball doesn't go through him. Like there's no reason to specifically set a spot aside for him just because he's a center. Like that's what I mean. I think positionless is what they do, and that's how they will continue to play. I don't think anytime in the future it's going to change. Like, did you hear that quote about Kareem saying that I want to go across the bay and slap Steph for putting the three, using the three so effectively now that everybody just wants to shoot threes. Where somebody asked him, has any player come up to you and asked you, how can I shoot the skyhook better, or how can I score better in the post and all that? He said, nowadays all people want to do is if anything I have to teach, it has to rhyme with three.
I mean, I have to agree with him a little bit. Like, man, chucking threes is so painful. Like, it takes away the joy of playing.
It's so unimaginative. It's so unimaginative.
And it doesn't include everybody too much, It's just like, okay, you take the ball down, kind of I don't know.
No, I feel the Warriors are the only team who have put some imagination into getting those threes. Every other team is like, if I get 2 feet of distance, I'm going to shoot. And then I will see what happens. And that is the frustrating part. I don't think the Warriors shooting threes is bad because they are a good shooting team. It's those bad shooting teams, which is 25 of the 30 NBA teams which are shooting.
No, but
those are the ones
forget the NBA. I don't care about the NBA. I'm talking about before it used to be okay, you go to play pickup, people would get touches, people would be like, okay. Now you're playing and not everybody was a good 3-point shooter at that time. Now everyone's a good 3-point shooter. And so games finish faster. Yeah. There's no time to come back because you just
There's
shots
no
game
defense.
over. No defense at all.
No
at least before when you had to
it's
take
all
the
about
ball.
Highlights. Yeah.
Yeah, at least before when you had to take the ball in, do something, you could defend. There was some amount of comeback, that you could do. Now the guys will just do a hezzy and pull up and done.
They shoot the shot, and if it doesn't go in, it's a long rebound. So the defending team is also behind the ball. You can't get it. It's terrible. Do you play pickup now?
I don't play pickup. I mean, the last time I played pickup was in
Luxembourg, Paris.
Paris. No, not Paris. Before Paris, I was somewhere.
South Carolina.
Yeah, Luxembourg. I played in Luxembourg. Yeah. Sorry, my bad.
There's 6 people, 8 people.
I remember it's all kids, right? I mean, kids as in 19-year-olds. Fast, big, strong. And I think I was playing, I think it was 3-on-3. And there was this one guy on the other team who was very good. Like he was really, really good. And I was old, man. Like, you know, I don't go to play regularly also. So, but you know me, I like to defend. So I said, okay, fine, I'll get him. So I completely locked him up. But he also wasn't playing to his full power, you know. He was also like kind of, because he knew that if he plays really well, the game is over. Which is true. Like he was really, really good. So for most of the time, and then finally he just is like, okay, that's it. And then he just like he finished the game in like 3 shots, like all 3-pointers, over, done. And I was like, oh.
The times they are changing.
Yeah. There's nothing I could have done. Like there was no defense I could have pulled on him. Maybe if
Yeah,
in my
man, like nowadays,
maybe in my
you have to
younger
have,
days,
like, good offense. That's the only defense.
maybe in my younger days I could have like done something to stop him, but he wasn't even like waiting for a pass. Like before, what used to happen is the 3-point shooters were not the people that were initiating
Handling the
offense.
ball.
So
Yeah,
a
correct.
way to stop them, however effective they are, is to just make sure they don't get the ball. That's easy to do, like easier to do.
Yeah.
But now these people can handle. They initiate the offense, especially in half court. They just start. They get that free one pass, one pick, boom, shoot, over,
Yeah.
done.
Exactly.
You can't do anything about it.
It's
Like
the same
once you
thing
get
that
one,
happens here also.
once you get a pick, there's really nothing you can do, right? Like if one guy comes and gives you a pick at the start of the key, like you pass the ball, you wait for him, the other guy comes, or sometimes they would double screen, and then it's just you can't move and you can't do anything. He gets open space, gone. And it's not like we are a team where like the other person knows that he has to rotate and guard and everything. Yeah, so it's a game over very quickly.
So the only way to defend is not by defense. It's by you playing like shooting
Better,
threes.
yeah.
So now I take a
That's
lot of
it.
threes in the
Yeah.
game. That's the only way. There's no other way.
No
You
other.
can't defend them. You have to hope for them to miss, but then you have to hope that you get
That
the
you
shot
get the rebound,
because
yeah.
they are tired, and then you make that shot, and then that's the only way. It's the only way to beat this offense is through your offense. That's the
More
sad
offense.
part of it. Vineet, I mean, positionless basketball apart, what do you feel about the ability of the NBA players to be investing in the NBA and the WNBA? Sports betting made, they are
I
allowed
didn't really
to make their
understand
money.
much about it. I didn't understand much about the investing in the NBA part. But yeah, I mean, I think those restrictions into betting and all, ideally it's not a good thing. But in this era of empowerment to everybody, you know, it's like everyone needs to be empowered. So I think that it'll be difficult to like actually make a you know, a logical argument against like, hey, you can't invest in this betting company because it is conflict of interest, you know.
No, but that's what I was thinking, that I don't think a betting company makes money whether like the individual, the retail bettors, whether they win or lose, right? The house always wins. That's the kind of thing that I've observed in my 5,000 rupees of loss in the Dream 11 career as well.
Oh, really? Lost, huh?
I told myself that here is 5,000 rupees. I have no use for it. Let me put it in here. If I make some money off of it, great. If I don't, then it's a great sign for me to never go into the second. So 5,000 rupees.
And you lost all 5,000.
When I won some money, then whatever I won, I eventually lost it all.
The beginner's luck you got, and then you lost everything.
Exactly. So it's I mean, I understand that betting it's a representation of who you are as a person more than purely the science of betting, right? Like you can win $1 million one day and then lose 10 million because you thought that, oh, if I won 1 million one time, I can always go and win it again. So I mean, it's a test of your mental fortitude, which I don't have much of. So betting is a horrible thing for me, especially when they market it under the guise of this is a skill game. Whatever happens, you're going to make money because people are stupid. I'm saying that it's not a very good ethical decision from the NBA, because you should not be encouraging betting, even though it is legal in the US and I'm sure it's legal in certain states and all that sort of thing is fine. But from an ethical point of view, I think it's not a very good decision. And I understand that you should allow people to make their own mistakes, and if that's the case, ban alcohol and this also. But
empower.
empower सबको जो करना है कि जो There's this absolutely like one of the most hilarious things that I've seen. Okay, on I think it was a Family Guy.
Excuse me, ma'am. No porn at the bar.
Oh, it's okay. I'm transgender.
Oh, I had no idea. Do whatever you want all the time.
Oh my God, this is a very
It's a very
controversial
cancelable
episode.
episode.
Very cancelable
No,
episode.
but I mean that's the way that the way that they put it is that rules don't apply to. I'm not talking about transgender people per se, but I'm just talking about the special interest groups. It's like the rules that society has been living with for so long is just completely. It's a meaningless topic for them. They will do whatever the hell they want, and you just have to empower them, and because you cannot silence them. On the topic of looking up, let's talk about the audience questions. I have got the questions here with me,
Okay.
and I will. So we've got Adarsh. Adarsh, our main man, Adarsh Shivram asking, are we going to see a Suns versus Lakers playoff? And does that mean LBJ versus KD after 7 years?
I don't know, man. I feel like I don't really care about this matchup anymore. They're kind of old, except for KD. I mean, KD will destroy LeBron at this point. I think
At this point,
1-on-1. I was not willing to give up my Dirk best shooter, best scorer of all time. But I think KD has taken that mantle. My only thing with KD is that he's never been in a team where he had to truly carry a team. And so, like, some of his statistical numbers seem a bit off because he's always played with extremely good players. Like, not just like, good
decent.
players, but like, extremely good players, like Hall of Famers, in their peaks. So that's my thing against KD, but you can't really take away the eye test. Like, he's just, when he pulls up, it's like,
Champ 35 asks, are the Warriors serious contenders for the title?
no.
You don't think so?
Serious contenders? No.
I mean, I think for them every series is about just winning one road game. That's it. That is the aim for the series because I think they're unbeatable at home, and I think they are extremely unwinnable at the road. So it's like where does this stop?
I wouldn't
And I
say
think it's
strong
one game.
contenders. Do they have a decent possibility of repeating what they did last year?
No,
Yeah.
I think they are good enough to get to the finals. That's what I feel. I think they can
No.
easily. I think they can beat the Nuggets. I think they can beat. I think they can beat any of the teams that are there because Wiggins is going to come back. The shooters are going to shoot, and I think everything is going to mesh together by then. I mean, do I think they will win? The West is
Strong
so
probability
open.
to the Come on, how can you say strong probability? I just don't think they're a strong contender. They are a contender, like they are like for example, like do
I
they
mean,
have a better
which
chance of
team are
winning the
they really
championship?
badly matched up against? Which team do you think they are really badly matched up against?
They're not a good team, man. The Warriors are
No, but
not a
I'm
good team.
road
They
game.
have no defense on the guard position. So
ठीक
any
है
team
यार,
that
please,
has
playing
some good
defense.
guards, they go.
But that's what I'm saying. Who do you think is a bad, like a really horrible matchup for them? Like they have no chance against.
Clippers.
No, Clippers have like they don't have any sort of understanding within themselves only. Like Paul George is also not there. He's probably not going to
Clippers,
come back.
Nuggets.
I don't think Nuggets. Nuggets is a
Nuggets
Jokic.
just defeated them
But
without Jokic.
that doesn't count. No, those that doesn't count.
Golden
Regular
State
season,
was
yeah, I'm not
playing
saying.
a must-win. Golden State was playing a must-win game.
No,
Okay,
no. That's
and
what I'm saying.
Nuggets didn't even guard
Golden
their
State
best player,
Warriors have
and still they
lost
defeated
to
them.
Warriors have lost to like really bad teams. I'm saying in the playoffs when they know that their season is up for getting eliminated, I think they are going to stop Jokic, and I don't think that the Nuggets have enough playmakers. Like unless Jamal Murray shows up, I don't think they have chance. That's what I feel because Draymond Green and Kevin Looney gone lock up.
Highly
Two-time
disagree.
white MVP. Okay, fine.
Highly disagree.
Okay, fine. We'll go to the next question. And Ninad23 asks, most underrated role players according to you?
Bane.
Desmond Bain.
Desmond Bane. Brook
I think
Lopez.
Aaron Gordon is pretty underrated.
Aaron Gordon. Yeah, Aaron Gordon.
Brook Lopez was in contention for like defensive player of the year.
Yeah, but still very underrated in that sense.
Like he provides a lot of protection for Giannis.
That's
You
true.
know, like he cleans up a lot of Giannis's mistakes. Silently, you know, like you don't really see it. Then I would say, which team I'm looking at? I'm looking at Nuggets, Memphis,
I mean, I think for
Sacramento.
me, I've always been a huge fan of Norman Powell, Toronto days. Uh, but
He's
I mean,
not
his
doing anything
impact
right
is not
now.
that much. I mean, his impact is sort of less, but I think he's a very good player who
Okay,
deserves a little
yeah,
bit
I
more
can
playing time.
see that. And then on the East, you got Tyrese Maxey. No, but Tyrese Maxey is okay. It's properly rated.
Properly rated. Properly rated.
Properly. Yeah. Yeah, I think these are the kind of underrated.
Vineet, Vishnu asks the most underrated side going into the business end of the season, like the team which will turn it up a bit in the postseason. I mean, in this postseason, which you like sneakily will do this thing.
What do
But
you
I
think?
think
What do
the
you?
only contender for that is the Lakers because the dog shit that they've played before this, I think they can really turn it around. Getting a rested LeBron, sort of
Anthony
healthy
Davis.
AD, and that absolutely beautiful young team, young squad which can run up and down and cover up LeBron's defensive mistakes, AD's efforts, and all that. I think Lakers probably the most dangerous side, like the side which has the most upside. I would say. Not a
Hmm.
very like good side. I still don't believe by the Lakers
I think the
side, but I
Cavs. I think the Cavs have a very good chance. They're a very well-rounded team. Um, they're a very well-rounded team. So I think like if they catch a break, they can just destroy any team in a playoff series very handily.
I mean they've got Mitchell. They have all the ingredients.
That's
I
all
don't
Mitchell.
know, but I feel it's a sign of disappointment that we are talking about them as like a underachieving team which is going to
Well,
overachieve
because the
because
East, that the top three teams in the East are very good, like extremely good. Probably the three best teams in the league right now are the top three teams in the East.
okay. I mean that's a fair enough answer. The Gryffindor G asks every year there seems to be a new criteria for league MVP. What would your final criteria be?
Most valuable player generally is the person that makes everybody on the team better in different ways, right? It can be either through assists, it can be through phenomenal gravity, like Steph. You know, like what that person does creates everything for that team. He's not ideally the MVP is not like a singular contributor. Like I don't think KD is MVP material. He's singularly very, 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 very good, but his game does not affect the rest. Like he's a great cog to put into a team and say like, here is 30 points at the highest efficiency you can get.
Yeah.
Right, but his gameplay does not create this. Like Steph creates this like tornado, right? He's running around, he's just breaking the defense up, deconstructing it, and then shooting at
Making
a
sure
high
that
clip.
people look in. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a very different. So like that makes him an MVP caliber player. So that's number one. Second is has to be winning. Like very few times you can actually point out. Like I think the Russell Westbrook or let's say even the Jokic where they were like the sixth seed or something. Unless your team is completely crap, like completely like really bad, and you are still winning games, you're still competing, and you're still raising the level. That's the only time where if you're not a top three seed, you should not be considered in the MVP race. And then I think the third criterion would be, I mean, for me, it is games played. The best way you can have impact on a player and be more valuable to a player is to your team is by playing the games for your team to win. For me, those are the three main criterion. Like,
Okay. Thanks so much, guys, for the questions. It's been a long podcast once again, work for me. But thank you so much. This has been a lot of fun. We will catch you guys again next week or the week after that or wherever it is. We'll catch you guys next time. Till then, like, share, subscribe, do all the jazz. And until the next episode, Vineet, say bye bye.
bye.